plaintiff, Jessica Ransom, dated the defendant, and she claims their relationship was toxic. Jessica claims one night the defendant attacked her after falsely accusing her of sleeping with his cousin, and she's suing him today for breach of contract. Defendant Frank Taylor says he and Jessica casually dated, and while they were together, they were young and dumb and both made mistakes. Frank's countersuing for emotional distress.
All rise. This court is now in session. The Honorable Judge Greg Mathis presiding. You may now be seated.
Start with you, ma'am.
Okay, so in 2008, I met Frank Charles. We were friends at first, and once we became romantically involved and had our daughter, our relationship became toxic.
And when was that?
In 2010.
How so? What was going on?
It consisted of every kind of abuse, from alcohol abuse to physical abuse on both our parts, Your Honor.
Okay.
In 2016, Frank Charles accused me of sleeping with his cousin. And as a result, he put his hands on me, Your Honor, and lumped me up, Your Honor. And I just, it's rough.
Did you go to the police?
No, not that time.
All right. What else you want me to know?
So we also suffer from, we both abuse alcohol, and that contributes to a lot.
Okay.
So after a while, you know, and dealing with that, I finally gave up on Frank Charles, and I started to pick up the pieces of my life and try and rebuild it.
Good. Did you overcome your alcohol? Did you overcome the alcohol abuse?
It's an everyday battle.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
It's an everyday battle.
Good. That you're battling.
I'm trying to overcome it.
There you go. Good.
Yes, I'm working on it. I'm willing to level up and take it to the next level and heal and get better, Your Honor.
Okay.
But like I said, I was dealing with depression, post-traumatic stress disorder. I was drinking. I dropped out of school. My life just, you know, was spiraling downhill fast. So I finally got tired of my own stuff, Your Honor, honestly, and I decided to make a change.
Let me hear from you, sir. You give me some background now.
Let me see.
Okay, he's high off weed, so let me get back to you. Let me know when you're ready. Let me know when you're ready to talk.
Oh, yeah, I'm ready. I don't smoke though, Your Honor, but
okay.
I mean, we had a little relationship in the past, but I don't, it was crazy. At first, we was young, dumb, so a lot of stuff took place, but shorty, look different, look crazy. I don't really mess with her. I don't really got too much to say about it. I mean, I passed
Okay.
it. Passed.
How long?
Up,
okay, I thought she said y'all dated for like 8 years.
No.
How long did y'all date?
Often,
I mean, I knew her for sure. I did know her. We started messing around, but we weren't dating. You know what I mean? Like,
Okay. You were dating in 2010, or at least one night, because you had a baby together.
that's not dating. That's not dating.
That was a date.
We had a baby
That was
together.
a date. That was a date. One night can be a date.
Yeah, like we was young and dumb. You feel me? That's
You
why I
all
have a
lived
child together. Not for real. I just stayed at her crib for nights, you know, a couple of days. She didn't want me to go nowhere type stuff.
Okay. You were spending the night and not dating.
Like I ain't never had no clothes at her crib or no, you know what I mean?
Okay.
No stuff like that.
All right, so ma'am, he says you all really didn't date. I'm sure he wouldn't jump on you about his cousin if y'all wasn't dating. So you do what you
cousin
wanted.
is she talking about?
Ma'am, you bringing something up that you haven't been accused of.
no, he accused me. He accused
said
me,
he
Your
didn't.
Honor, and there's
He
some
said-
pictures too on pages 1 through 3 that I submitted.
What does
You
it
can
tell
take
me?
a look at it, Your Honor. I was asleep, and this man came talking about I slept with his cousin, and I know it wasn't true.
Okay,
She didn't
and
say that.
ma'am, you told me that you have a text that will confirm or prove that he alleged that you slept with his cousin. I didn't see that text.
That's the situation.
Okay. And he denies it, and you have no proof. So let's move on. You have proof that you all fought because you told me you fought all the time. So you have proof of that. Yeah, I see the fight evidence. All right. Now, what's the $1,000 breach of contract for?
The breach of contract, Your Honor, honestly, it's not even about the money. It's principles. It's the point that Frank Charles always lies. He doesn't do what he says he's going to do. It's just always chaos and negativity when it comes to him, and nothing is ever right. And as I'm working on myself and trying to move forward, it's setting me back at the same time. And I just want us to be able to get it together before it's too late.
He said y'all weren't even dating. What are you talking about? Get together and change, and we want to do it right. What are you talking about? He said you're not even dating.
Your Honor, that just goes to prove that he can't be truthful about anything.
Do you have evidence that you all?
Yes, I have evidence for this breach of contract.
No, we're talking about dating, man. All right, we're talking about dating, so let's move away from that. Pardon? You have a video that shows what?
That Frank Charles does what he wants. He doesn't do anything that we agree upon. He will agree upon one thing and he'll do another. He's gonna bring my daughter home.
Okay, so that's what you're talking about, your child.
Comes by itself.
Okay, that's what you're talking about, the child. I thought she said y'all dated for like 8 years.
No.
How long did y'all date?
I mean, I knew her for sure. I did know her. We would start messing around, but we weren't dating. You know what I mean? Like,
okay. You were dating in 2010, or at least one night, because you had a baby together.
Plaintiff Jessica Ransom dated the defendant, and she claims he attacked her after falsely accusing her of sleeping with his cousin.
Let's see what you have for me. What do you want to show me?
Here he go, outside my house. He was supposed to be bringing my baby, but he by himself. So where's she at, Frank Charles? Well, then why is you here and not her? What's up?
I'm getting.
I don't understand. That's not what we said, babe. What's wrong?
Okay, and what about the $40?
Yes, Your Honor, and the $40 is just the breach of contract. He said that he would give me $40. Your Honor, I admit it was for marijuana, but that's just another example of him not doing what he says he's going to do. Okay. So after he agreed upon giving me that, I go over there and I never got it.
Okay. And this $40 was going to be used to go to a legal dispensary for a state that has recreational drugs?
Yes, Your Honor.
What state is that?
Illinois.
You can go and get your weed without lying now.
I was there yesterday.
You don't even have to lie anymore. You don't have to limp when you're going there.
Hold my shoulder.
Yeah, my shoulder. All right. And you're saying because he promised you and wouldn't give it to you, you think that I should order him to do it.
It goes back to the.
What did you agree to do? What did you agree to do for the $40?
I agreed to spend it on weed.
Okay. So in order to have an agreement, you have to have both sides agree to do something. Otherwise, it's a gift. And gifts are not enforceable until they are made. Otherwise, that's called a promise. And people break their promise all the time. He promised you he wouldn't cheat. He promised you he wouldn't mess with no women. You can't sue him for that when you catch him. Let me hear from you, sir.
I don't mess with Shorty. I don't talk to her. I don't text her. I don't call her. I don't mess with her at all. You get me? Yes, I went to her crib to go get my laptop. Well, my daughter laptop for her to go to school through Zoom. You know what I'm saying? Just for her to go to school. I don't go over there. I don't bother with her. Something wrong with her. You feel me? And like I say, I was messing with her when I was young and dumb. I know better, so I do better. I don't know. Yeah, she asked me for $40. She asked me, she was like, baby, can I get some money? I said no immediately. No, we ain't cool. We ain't none of that.
Why you riding past my house, Your Honor?
Why you riding past the house all the time? Trying to see who's over there. That sounds like you in love.
I do not go past her crib.
And initially, Your Honor, the phone call, we agreed upon the
You love her.
Or the laptop.
You love her. You're in love. Right by her house.
No,
right, stalking her. You a stalker. Let me read your evidence. I'm gonna read her evidence. She got text message where y'all talking. And this text message from Frank. Baby, I've never loved anyone like I love you. And I'm gonna keep driving by just to see you when you walk out the door. And if you see my blue station wagon coming by, please just consider waving. All I need is a wave.
Come on, I never owned a station wagon. I would never text nothing like that to her. I talk to her every 3-4 months. I don't talk to her.
What's your countersuit?
She lies so much that she'll believe all lies.
What's your countersuit? I don't deal with this girl at all. What's your countersuit for $2,000? Why does she owe you for emotional distress?
I had nothing to have a countersuit for, to be honest. You know what I'm saying? I don't deal with it. I have nothing. I don't deal with it. You hear me? They just said it's for emotional. I gotta call out 2 days in a row for 2 jobs.
The only way you don't deal with me is financially. But when you riding past my house and stuff, you want to deal with me. When you calling me, blowing me up.
I say,
what did he say when he called you? What does he say?
I don't call her. I don't text her.
What does he say when he called you?
On this day that we talking about, but when I asked for the weed money, he called and he was like, what happened to you last night? I'm looking at the phone. What? Huh? He like, oh, I got the wrong number. Yeah. So we get off the phone. So I call him back, and that's why I was like, it's my lucky day. What up, baby daddy? I asked him for the $40. You know, I'm thinking he liked me today. Let me go get some money, go on about my day.
What did you agree to do for the $40?
I agreed to spend it on weed.
Okay. So in order to have an agreement, you have to have both sides agree to do something. Otherwise, it's a gift.
Plaintiff Jessica Ransom dated the defendant, and she claims he attacked her after falsely accusing her of sleeping with his cousin.
All right, you still haven't said anything that demonstrates he has any interest other than riding by the house. And he said he doesn't even have a station wagon.
Never had. I would never drive a station wagon.
I know it.
I don't even smoke weed. Why do I support her habit? I don't smoke squares, black and mass weed, and I'm about to give you some money to do something. I don't even smoke. You know what I'm saying? No, I told her no immediately. When she came back, I said, "Well, my daughter."
That's the point. Quit saying stuff, and you had no intentions on giving it to me. You just wanted to see me and harass me and emotionally distress me. Period. Point blank. That's why we here. You doing it now. You've been doing it. I'm tired of it. We done.
Ma'am, I can't grant you $40. That was a promise. Your emotional distress is regarding relationship issues. And people don't get emotional distress for relationship issues. Y'all probably gonna be back together time you leave here.
Your Honor. Your Honor. No, sir.
Sir, you said it's not really about the emotional distress, and you haven't proven it. This is between you and your girlfriend, so I can't grant you any emotional distress. Both of your claims are dismissed.
You're so petty, and you know you're full of it.
Can I dismiss this conversation right now?
Lies like that to these people out here.
Plaintiff Anina Dews says the defendant is her sister, and they used to be close. But Anina is tired of her using people for money and getting away with it. Anina is suing her today because she stole her identity and opened a credit card in her name without permission. Defendant Jasmine Jones says Anina is jealous of her because she's a stay-at-home mom who doesn't need to work for money. Jasmine insists Anina knew she was getting a credit card in her name, and she's countersuing for unpaid loans.
Start with you.
Well, I'm here today. Basically, I don't trust my sister at all anymore. She lost all my respect. I really want nothing to do with her except to get this paid for and out of the way. Kind of sad. We've always been pretty close, but it went too far this time, and she hurt me pretty much mentally. I'm sick of it. I'm sick of her thinking she can just get away with life, with taking. You know, she never gives. You know, she uses people for money. She's a liar. She's a fake. Like, I can go on and on about her, but
a liar, a fake,
yes.
And uses people for money.
Yes.
Are you a liar and a fake that uses people for money, ma'am?
No, I'm not.
Okay.
And she
Why don't
sounds
you tell
very
me
jealous.
about yourself then?
So we used to be very close growing up.
Mm-hmm.
And as we got older, I feel like this is all pure jealousy. She's jealous of me being a stay-at-home mom. She's jealous of me not having to work for money.
Okay. You don't have to work?
I don't.
Oh, good. All right. Let's get into the lawsuit then and see what's going on. I'm sure there's no real money factors because she doesn't have to work. So sure, money isn't a factor. Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't even know. Obviously,
off,
she shouldn't want any money from you because she don't need to work. Her sister got to work and hustle, and she's got money. She don't need to work. Only people like me and you need to work. Go ahead.
Yeah, basically, she had taken my identity. So this is identity theft. She's never made a payment.
Stolen your identity?
Yes, sir.
To do what? And did what with it?
And bought a couch.
All right. How did you find out about it?
I went to buy a house at the time, and my credit was perfect. I've always been on time with my payments. You know, never, maybe late once or twice, but I always made the payment. But anyways, he had opened my credit report and basically said it's too low. He can't let me buy the house. And I was very curious, so I did some researching and digging. I went to my bank account, and I found a credit card had been opened under my bank account without my knowledge, without permission. And immediately I knew it was Jasmine.
How?
She had asked me probably in the beginning of July if she could use my credit card or open a credit card or just use my credit.
Did you remind her that she got so much money that she don't have to work, that she living good? Why would she come to you for anything? As jealous as you are of her and all the money she has? That couldn't be true. Stop lying.
No lies here. No lies here,
So
Garner.
what happened? She came to you and you said no. And then when you look up when and discovered that it was?
This happened around November.
She doesn't have to work. So sure, money isn't a factor. Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't even know. Obviously,
but
she shouldn't want any money from you because she don't need to work. Her sister got to work and hustle, and she's got money. She don't need to work. Only people like me and you need to work. Go ahead.
Plaintiff Anina Dews is suing her sister, who claims Anina is jealous of her because she's a stay-at-home mom who doesn't need to work for her money.
And what has she said since then when you confronted her or mentioned it to her?
she did admit to it. But then again, she never made
she
payment.
did that with all the money and leisure, life of leisure that she lives? Why did she say she would do that?
I question it too, Your Honor.
Whoever gives her money not to work, they fell off, huh? All right.
happens
Let me hear from you, ma'am.
Doesn't happen.
Let me hear from you. What happened with this? I'm sure she's just imagining all this. Somebody like you that gets taken care of, you don't have to work all your stuff until somebody falls off. Then I gotta come up with a way to scam. Go ahead. What happened?
Honestly, it wasn't a scam because I told her that I was going to be using the card.
Why did you need? Hold on, back up. Why did you need to use her card?
Well, because like we said, it was a fall off.
No, you said you had everything.
And I wasn't going to go to work just to get a couch.
Okay, so instead you play fake like you could afford a couch on your own when you couldn't. So are you faking today? About
No,
whether you use
and I
the
wasn't
car?
faking then.
Well, you are
I just
faking. You
not
said you
want-
got
I
everything.
didn't
You don't have to work. I'm fine. And here you are, gotta use somebody else's credit card. How fake can
That
you
month
get?
I was not fine. It was just one time.
Did you pay the credit
And it
card?
was-
Did you pay the credit card, Big Money?
Big money.
I paid it.
All
for a
right. You
couple
paid it off?
months.
You paid it off?
No.
Why?
No, because she started talking reckless to me, cussing at me, threatening me.
Mm-hmm.
So
Because you're not
I was
paying
done.
it.
You were done what? What did I have
That's
to
not
do?
a good
What?
reason.
Oh, okay. All right.
What's the good reason?
Ma'am, don't waste your time with her. You sound like you are a young woman that has lifted yourself up and you are trying to buy a house for yourself. And here your sister who talks so big can't even afford her own credit card and instead messes up your credit. So you keep moving forward in life, all right? Don't you let her distract
It was
you
not
with all
that
this
big
flash and floss and fakeness, all right? So whoever's taking care of her and fell off, tell her that ain't your problem. Tell her she should get a job. And you won't have to depend on somebody who falls off. How does she owe you for loans?
I had to drive. Actually, I flew down to Texas when her and her child's father were getting into it. I, being the best big sister I am, had to fly down to Texas and drive her 13 hours back to Cincinnati. And that was gas. That was a ticket. That was food on the way back. And oil change, tires, everything. So I feel like if we're arguing about a couch, we might as well argue about that too.
The law is, with regard to what you're doing, is there must have been an agreement to repay. Did she agree to repay? And if so, how much?
I feel like she agreed.
Oh, you feel like. That means no. Your claim is dismissed and yours is granted. Now go to chasing some more money so that you don't have to do this to your sister and commit fraud. That's not nice. Just because your people fall off, go get some new people who's straight, all right? Don't mess with fake people, all right? Have a good day. Judgment for the plaintiff.
Thank you. This is what she gets. I'm glad she got served today, and I don't like her hair.
She sounds miserable and jealous, obviously.
But I won the case that easy because honestly, you're wrong. You know you're lying and you know you're fake. So,
and if that's how you feel, miserable.
Plaintiff David Kempfer says the defendant was childhood friends with his son, and David took him into his home when he was 13 because his mother was in an abusive relationship. However, David's suing him today for 3 unpaid loans. Defendant Travion Jones says his mother did her best to raise him, but he is grateful that he had David to fall back on. Travion insists he was repaying David when he filed this lawsuit.
Start with you.
Okay, a little bit of background. I've known Travion since he was about 10 years old. Him and my son played football together. Real good young kid, but I might have a history working in mental health with behavioral at-risk teens, drug addiction, anger, depression, just the multitude of whatever they were checked in for. And I could see just from the conversations of him coming to my house, the way he was with my son, the way he was with me, and his clinginess, he had a lot of issues in his household. His mom was in an abusive relationship, and through our conversations, me and his mother decided it was an appropriate situation for him to move in with us.
Good.
Get some positive role
At
model.
what age again?
He moved in with us at 13.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he was with us for 2-3 years.
Okay.
At which point he went back. His mom kind of wanted some of the things he had learned. He was a positive role model for his both of his younger sisters. Kind of became the man of the house and did a lot of things to help raise his little sisters and to be supportive in the household.
Good.
Defendant Travion Jones was best friends with the plaintiff's son, and he says the plaintiff took him into his home when he was 13 because his mother was in an abusive relationship.
How was he at school when he stayed with you guys?
Well, when he moved in with me, he had decided at one point that he didn't need to go to school no more. So I said, okay, no problem.
What was that? What grade?
He was in 9th grade.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, the story's coming. And he told me he didn't need to go to school. I was like, okay, you're not going to school today. So he's like, okay. So we dropped my son off and my daughter off at school. And he's like, okay, hanging out with me for the day. We drove straight to the Home Depot in our neighborhood and we picked up bricks. Right. And when we got home, he was like, okay, what are we going to do now? And I'm like, I'm going to go in the house. You're going to build a walkway around my pool. So after about 30 minutes, he came in and was like, I need some water. I was like, oh, no. If you're not going to work with this, you can work with these.
That's right.
And men that work with these, they don't take a break until for at least 2 hours. So I'm going to see you outside. In 2 hours, I'll bring you some water. 2 hours, came out, brought him some water. He's dying.
Sound good, sir.
Yes. After about...
White man working a black kid. The man can have a glass of water. White laying bricks for hours at a time. I understand the tough love, though. I'm having fun with
I understand.
the concept. But you got to admit, that is a pretty...
But I wanted him to realize that if you're not going to work with this, you're going to work with these.
I understand.
As an adult.
I'm having fun with
So at the end of that day, he comes to me and he goes, can I go to school tomorrow, Coach?
That's right. That's tough love. Y'all listen.
Right back to school.
Y'all listening? Put them to work. Don't let them lay around that house playing videos or down in the basement watching sports, ESPN, and playing videos. No, sir. If you're not going to school, you're going to work. When you drop out of school, you're an adult. You're taking care of yourself. So, folks, listen. Just put them kids to work if they're not going to be at school, and make them take care of themselves. How you going to take care of a boy that lay on the couch and play videos? Particularly if you're a grandmother and you're retired, you're on a fixed income, you working, you probably got a part-time job, and he come home and he or she is laying on the couch and won't go to school. Yeah, so do what he did. They can work without water. All right, that's right. And give me some background on your relationship with Mr. Camphor.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, as just for the record, his name is David, but I've always called him Coach for almost 15 years now. So if I say Coach, please excuse me.
Good.
But as Coach stated, I was best friends with his son. I played a lot of football. My mom, she did her best. She did her best, but me being the only man in the household outside of her husband, that wasn't the best example for me. So I'm grateful that I did have Coach to kind of fall back on. And even though I was thirsty, I learned to work. So I've kept
Did they let you get water on the football field?
Oh, yeah. Plenty of water.
All right, I'm just making sure some white person gets a black man. Laying bricks or carrying the ball. Or the gladiator. They used to get gladiators water, didn't they?
Yes, sir.
When they put them in the den with the lions. Take a drink and get on out there. All right, go ahead. So, how did you do in sports?
I was okay. My first game, I made the newspaper. You know?
Okay.
I mean, that was my coach. We never won a game, but I was good at what I was doing.
Okay, and you learned discipline and teamwork, etc.
Absolutely.
And what did you do with that after graduation?
Well, unfortunately, I did not graduate. After my junior year of high school, moving back in with my mom, obviously, I came back because her husband had left. And I was in a better position to lead my family, and it kind of became a point to where...
How did you lead them?
Well, I ended up picking up a job at the age of 16. And I mean...
Full time?
Yes, sir. Correct. Yes, sir.
Where?
My first job was at ironically for the division of... like the Section 8 division. It was an internship originally, and then from there I worked at a casino in Las Vegas.
Those are good jobs?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Casino jobs. You still there, or what happened?
No, sir. After I turned 18, I got into the security industry, in which I still maintain a job.
Defendant Travion Jones was best friends with the plaintiff's son, and he says the plaintiff took him into his home when he was 13 because his mother was in an abusive relationship.
All right. Now, I don't want to get too far into your business, but how much you make a year? Over 25?
Right about 25 right now.
All right. So
yes,
you
sir.
need some additional skills because you're right at the poverty level.
Yes, sir. That is correct. Yes, sir.
Yeah. So what are you going to do about additional skills?
Well, my goal is I've started a journey of entrepreneurship. I feel as though I have the mindset and the discipline to be a businessman. A businessman, I should say. So I started a business. It's getting off the ground.
What type of business?
So I actually have one of the only black-owned modeling agencies and modeling schools in Las Vegas right now.
You're a model.
I'm not a model. I got a stomach. I'm not a model.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you know, I'm more so. I manage. I book gigs, book fashion shows, short films, magazine publications for. I don't want to use the word underprivileged, but for models are men and women who typically wouldn't have the opportunity to show their talents in that industry.
Good. And you get a commission off the work? That's
Absolutely,
how
yes. So
agencies operate?
Absolutely. So we do get a percentage of all of the booking fees. I mean, all of the booking rates that they make. And then if you're not in the agency and you're just with the academy, then you pay a monthly tuition to the school.
Good. That sounds like a good business to be in. So congratulations. All right. You have a plan.
Yes, sir.
That's what young people should have also, a plan. And just as long as you have a plan, even if that plan doesn't work out at some point, give yourself a couple of years. If it's not growing,
yes, sir.
You know, it doesn't have to be where you want it to be ultimately, but a business needs to show increase in income over the course of 2 or 3 years. If you're not increasing your income in that business after the second year, you might want to look at something else, because businesses should increase their sales. Otherwise, you know, nobody else likes it but the people who first started.
Absolutely.
And that's not enough. So good. Congratulations. But why won't you get your GED at least?
I have intentions on it. Right now, I have a 1-year-old at home. I actually have another child on the way as well. I've had some hardships.
Why would you do that with low income?
It wasn't planned, but I don't believe in not taking care. Well, obviously we're here, but I don't believe in not taking care of any children that
I agree. So you should believe they don't bring any children in the world unless you can have adequate income. Because if you live in poverty, those kids are going to go to bad schools, which won't get them into a college that is reputable. And if you don't go to a reputable community college or university or skilled trades program, then you're stuck in poverty. Then the next generation, the same thing if you don't change that cycle of preparation. We're talking about preparation. People think school, college, preparation, okay? Prepare yourself with some paperwork based on the competition. They're going to take a person with the paperwork over the person who doesn't, even if it isn't in that specific career, because they say, okay, this person has shown the discipline to start something and finish it. He has shown the discipline to complete an educational or preparation or intern. So that in and of itself. Paperwork says, I know how to start, I know how to complete, I'm disciplined enough to do it. And so when you give me something, you can assure I'm going to do it just like I completed my classes. That's what paperwork says when you apply for a job. All right. So I'm sorry I take so much time on these things, but it's so important. It's so important that these folks know this. They need some insight on how to succeed.
Defendant Travion Jones was best friends with the plaintiff's son, and he says the plaintiff took him into his home when he was 13 because his mother was in an abusive relationship.
$5,000. How does he owe you the $5,000, baby?
Okay. In 2018, him and I are huge wrestling fans, and we had an opportunity to go to a huge wrestling show, and ended up buying VIP tickets, everything like that. He was actually working a good job. He was making good money, and was ready to do some of these things. We ended up loaning him $2,100. I bought my tickets. He bought his, or I bought his, and then ended up from there. He ended up borrowing more money. Let
me ask you: the tickets cost probably on the aftermarket $2,000?
No, the tickets were I think $700, and then between hotel stay, food, travel, it went up to $2,100 per person for the trip.
Okay. Yeah, I go to all the big fights and usually get very good seats. Basketball tickets, you can go for $100, you might not be sitting in the best seats. But wrestling, what are the median price tickets?
$300, $350 maybe?
Really?
That's a surprise.
Wrestling.
Well, when we're talking, there are like 4 major events for the main company. And this was our dream, was to hit these 4 major events.
Right.
So
Okay. I didn't mean to interrupt with that, but I wanted to know.
And so then after that, he had gotten in a position to where he had some ticket situations come up. So I ended up lending him some money to pay his rent and to pay some back bills and things like that so that he could, keep functioning. In December of 2018, he moved in with me because he had been able to pay up his back rent, but he wasn't able to continue paying his rent, plus his tickets and some other situations he was having. So he moved in with me, and he was paying $500 a month rent. And we had run a tab, and so that had backed up, and that had gone on for 3 months. And then finally he got another job in security, and I had gotten him bus passes, gotten him all the new security new information he needed for like belts and stuff like that they needed for the new company. And because it was a newer company that was wanting him to do more supervisory type things, so he needed more equipment. And we had basically come to an agreement after the first loan with a promissory note. That would be page 1 of evidence, where he had agreed to pay me. So it's $2,000.
Well, I see a couple of them here. Has he paid you anything? I guess that's the best.
Yes, the grand total was $5,950. He's paid me almost $500.
Okay.
So I mean, he was really trying, and I mean, like I say, we're still functional. We still, I care about him. I care about his family.
That's a lot of money to go without.
Yes.
If someone owes you, I don't loan that kind of money.
Yes.
I don't. You have to be losing your house. Uh-oh. Why I say that? Why I say that?
It's already ringing.
The phone already ringing. They about to take my house, man. Every loan they I've requested of from now on is going to be to keep their house from going into foreclosure. All right. But I don't get a lot of requests for loans. I'm just kidding. I do not. So that's a stereotype too. That time you get some money, all your friends and family start asking. Absolutely not. My closest family members never ask me. I got 40 down in Florida. I don't believe any of them have asked me, other than the one who had the most money. He was asking, but he was asking for his youth agency. So that's not true as well. And why haven't you paid him? Is it because of lack of income or lack of funds, right?
I wouldn't necessarily say lack of income or lack of funds, because I've maintained a job. However, I was raising my daughter, who I found out was not biologically mine after already establishing the bond. I was a single father for almost 4 years, and I mean, I had to kind of prioritize: do I pay back the debt that I have with my coach, or do I be a parent to my daughter? And
why couldn't you do both?
Well, when you put it that way, I didn't have.
You had a lack of funds, like I said.
Yeah,
no, it wasn't a lack of funds, or it wasn't a lack of job. That's exactly what it was. Judgment for the plaintiff. Have a good one.
Trey, I love you and I appreciate you, and I know this was not because you didn't care or because you didn't want to. This was just a matter of getting where you could.
I appreciate you for what you've been in my life. I just feel like a little more time, and we could have avoided this. But I appreciate you for the role you've played in my life, and I look forward to getting back to the old days once we can get this foot behind us.